Welcome back to Bits and Boards. I'm Anthony Krolikowski, and today we have a repeat offender here, but not when it comes to Bits and Boards, more when it comes to our newscasts. If you remember, it's almost 2 years ago at this point. I went all the way out to Summers. I think it's pronounced Summer, if I got it right. It was a nice 2-hour drive, and we met up with Nico Papalia, who made a game. It was called Athenian Rhapsody, and went pretty good. So thanks for joining us over here on the Bits and Boards realm of things. Nice to have you.
Of course, appreciate the invite. This is always a lot of fun. It was fun the first time, and a lot has changed since then. So happy to catch up.
Well, great to have you on for your now second game that you have here. So before
Yes.
we get into that first one and that background, just give us that nice introduction about what you've been working on and how that process is and what exactly this game is.
So yeah, before we go into Athenian Rhapsody and that one's released and stuff like that, that was an RPG, and I've basically taken that one and taken everything I've learned from it, from the success and stuff like that, the press and the criticisms as well, what could be improved, and kind of wrapped it up into a second iteration of the same formula. Alongside just some things that I enjoy more now and stuff like that in terms of gameplay and things like that. And it's kind of just, a big step forward, a big step up for a new, improved RPG that, I don't think it'll, what's the word? It won't put Athenian Rhapsody, to be invalidated. It's very different at this point, but it's just a new step. You know what I mean?
Not quite revolutionary, but innovative and definitely stepping
Yes.
up from where you were with the
Yes.
last
Yeah,
one.
it's not going to remove what you liked about it, but it'll build upon it, add some new things, and cut out some of the things that were dragging.
Yeah. And to set the stage here, now remind me here, is this the prequel, a sequel, and how does this fit into the storyline?
Yeah, so it is like technically a prequel, like it takes place before the events of the first game, but also it's not really any kind of quill sequel, whatever, because sequels don't sell well. Like if I made Athenian Rhapsody 2, nobody would buy it because I would only be selling it to a fraction of the audience who play the first one. So if you played it, you know what's going on. If you didn't play my first game, you're not going to miss a beat. So it's kind of like a prequel, but also almost like Pokemon Diamond would be to Pokemon Gold and Silver. You know what I mean? You know what it is. You don't. It's kind of equally appealing to both. But yes, it is technically the lore would be it's in the past.
Now, going forward here with the specific plot of this game, just give me some of that background again on specifically this character. I know you have Lammy Poo, which is different from your other one here.
Yes.
So, what kind of sets the stage for Tuscany here?
Okay, awesome. So, yeah, you're tapped in. Lammy Poo, got them all loaded up. It's awesome. So basically, in Athenian Rhapsody, my whole gist was that I wanted it to be a build your own story, and with that, I feel like the central story was kind of framed around that. And this one, I gave it kind of more of a central plot to build around, just to be a little bit more simple to jump into. So, in Tales of Tuscany, the point that you jump off of is Thunder Goober, the series mascot, the little white seal with the party hat. I think I got one back there actually behind me. Yeah, right there.
We can see Thunder
Uh,
Goober in this little
yep,
angle I got now. Yeah.
the plushes. Yeah, I got them there. My little office here. But basically, what he does is he destroys your home village. So you start with a blank slate of a village. You got to rebuild. You have to adventure around and find your cousins, and your cousins will come and rebuild the village. And they've all got personalities and stuff. And you get upgrades and stuff. So it's kind of just you're set out. You can explore, do what you want, navigate through the central path to the end of the game, defeat Thundergoober, whatever, the final boss. But that's the central mission: is your world was destroyed, rebuild it, and do what you want while doing it. So kind of more of a pivotal central goal.
And then open world, it seems. Correct for this one?
Yes, this one is Athenian Rhapsody was pretty open, but there was also like a linear path through. This one is kind of much more open. Like you can just kind of skip a lot of stuff if you don't want to interact with it. Like the mainstay characters in it, you can skip. And yeah, the whole gist with the difference between Cornball, the little protagonist, the little human guy from the first game, and Lammy Poo is little fun fact behind it is my dad's dog likes the lamb chop dog plush. You know what I'm talking about with the red hooves and
I
stuff.
remember your social media post that you made. It's been a long time. You invoked a
Yes.
memory here.
I did make a video. I did make a video about it. You're 100% right. That's right. You tapped in, man. I love it. But yeah, they were just all over my house. And I think it was like my girlfriend or someone who called it Lammy Poo at one point. And I was like, something's happening. Something's happening. And then, I'm messing around with it. And another friend developer of mine is like, oh, you should make a button that just makes him bah, like makes him scream. And that's now a whole mechanic. So things just kind of just happen. And because I'm a solo dev and these things don't have to get approved and things like that, I can kind of just shoehorn things in and it's fun. And I think it worked out well. I think it's fun. Actually, my publisher, who obviously they steer me in the right direction, stuff like that, to keep me on the tracks. He was actually a little concerned about it not being a human because he's like, what about the expression of customizing your character and stuff like that? And I'm like, I think they're gonna like it. I think they'll like Lammy Poo, and luckily they do, even though it's a bit more of a preset character, preset personality. But there's still ways to customize it and stuff. Like you could change your color and things. You got your armor and stuff like that. And a lot of the expression now comes with the team that you build throughout the game. You have two friends that you can swap out and stuff like that throughout the game. So that's kind of a point of expression. There's also the shinies, like from Pokemon I added. So, you could be shiny too. You could start the game and be shiny. So yeah, it's different, but kind of the same. You know what I mean?
Not to get too hot here, but I'm sure the furry community might take this one and run with it. So, and anyone can
I
obviously
don't
like
know.
a character like this. You don't know?
I don't know. I don't really see, but this thought actually crossed my mind semi recently. I realized I was like, I don't really have, I don't really have that kind of audience. You know what I mean? Maybe on release, just because release is such a big, um, such a big just exposure bump. Maybe I don't know, but I haven't really had that kind of community in the past. If I'm not opposed to that kind of community. Sure, wrong with it, whatever you want to do. I think it's just probably the art style and stuff like that, and just the way that I present the game and things like that. It's just probably not really in line with what games that kind of cater to the fur community kind of are and stuff like that. But I did think about that recently, and I was like, I don't really see any of that in my own audience, and I don't know what it is, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's funny you bring that up.
And just the thought, like you said, thought that crossed my mind. And, you think of things like Disney that are not that's their focus, but they have a lot of anthropomorphic animals.
Yes,
So
very
it's the same kind of, creative direction here when I think of it that way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I guess it's the kind of anthropomorphy, that it's done. You know what I mean? Because my characters are kind of just little guys, I guess.
They're silly little creatures.
Yeah, they're just little kind of munchkins instead of like being, animated and very expressive. They kind of are hard locked into one expression, and that's their whole personality, I guess. So yeah, but that is interesting, and I think it's something we'll see happen in the future. I guess we'll have to iterate on it.
That's the hottest question I'll have for you all episodes.
You can throw some at me.
You did great. You did great. And for people who haven't played your first game or seen too much about it, just walk me through the gameplay style here. I know through the videos I've been playing now, we saw kind of the Undertale references, and just go a little further with that and explain that for me.
Yeah, so let me do that, and then let me also tell you about some new things that I did as well. I think that would be a cool little springboard. So Athenian Rhapsody's gameplay kind of takes a note from the SNES games, where it's I don't want to call it slow because like there is a lot of stuff happening all the time. But it's paced like one of those older RPGs, you know what I mean? And the combat is more Undertale style because I didn't know how to program turn-based and stuff like that. I was freaking out. I only knew how to make things move around. So I took that direction. It's almost like a cross between Earthbound, Undertale, and I would say a little bit of WarioWare in there just for some mechanics that are thrown in there, right? But it feels grounded. It feels grounded when you compare it to kind of a lot of modern games that just are maximized with QOL features and just dopamine and stuff like that, which is kind of what Tuscany is now. But Athenian Rhapsody is like a nice grounded classic RPG experience, but it's not dated. You know what I mean? Like you have a limited inventory and stuff like that. That's kind of how I think about it now because of the nostalgia. Now I released it 2 years ago, but I'm working on Tuscany all the time. That's what I would say. It's got a very open story where you can kind of take it where you want. There's a lot of little changes that you can make that will change your interactions with characters and stuff like that. You could adventure with who you want to adventure with. It's a choose your own adventure, and at the end, I set something up called the Rhapsody system, where you get a postcard that's generated from your story, and you can customize it a little bit, put some badges on it, trade it with other players. For a while I was printing them and shipping them to players as well. I just stopped that now because it's a lot of work right now. I'll open that back up when Tuscany launches as well, but kind of just that, trying to be a personal experience. And the way that Tuscany is the same is that it's the same kind of core base gameplay, except there's a few key changes. So it's faster. There is more modularity to the story, so you can kind of do things whenever you want and build your pathway. The Rhapsodies you can customize a lot more. Instead of just picking one badge achievement, you can place stickers all over it. And the game is much more like dopamine maxed. And this just happened like this past week. I took the bomb mechanic and I turned it into making it break things, and then that led to me adding destructible environments, and then that it ended up with me adding things you can collect from that. And now it's just, I think the whole pacing of the game has changed because of that. I'm testing it. I'm running around, like it's crazy. So that's a big change. And also with the befriending, it's not so I don't know how to verbalize this, but it's more modular as well. You can find as many friends as you want and befriend them and throw them in like almost like a PC box, like Pokemon. You could find different iterations of the same guys. You can swap your teams out more modularly, even on the fly and stuff like that. So it's just kind of, I blew past all of that. Man, I want to make like a classic game, classic nostalgia based on what I liked and stuff like that. And now I'm like, what is real in 2026? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's my
it's
word.
a nice little hodgepodge of, when I look at games, not that I've played your first one yet.
Mhm.
It's still on the back burner that I got to pick up here
Hey, it
eventually.
was on a nice sale in December. You just missed it.
I, I I did see I did buy some stuff on the Steam sale, maybe more
Yeah.
than I should have because I've
Mhm.
been playing Fire Emblem of all things, which is not
Wow.
on the Steam
Nice.
sales, but that has been on my log.
Mhm.
But when we have this game here and looking at the first one, tell me about when it's come to creating this one, how much easier or just also what you've been able to improve upon compared to the last one when it comes to the technical side of things. You mentioned it being more modular and maybe more fast paced, but you just talk to me about you developing as a developer here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. World of a difference. Night and day. The first one was a nightmare. This one's so much fun. First one was a nightmare because I was learning programming as I was making this game from scratch. I've never done any sort of game development, programming, anything. So just everything was just like, oh, like a horrible nightmare. Every new thing was terrible. Uh, um, and a lot of things that I made, the systems I made in a way that um, would come back to bite me when I wanted to change something, just a big pain in the butt. And for this second game, not only did I already have a game engine that I built, well, it's made in Game Maker, but the game engine is in Athenian Rhapsody, that I was able to kind of tear down and rebuild parts that I wanted to improve upon vastly. So a lot of the hard part is done. Like, I don't have to do controller keybinds or anything like that because I already did it in the first one. I'm just kind of able to build and iterate and tear down and build things anew, and that allowed me to do new things like have a more in-depth combat system that's a little bit smoother and stuff. I was able to make a rogue mode in this game where you just climb floors infinitely. I was able to do challenge modifiers, so like almost like the skulls on Halo, and just kind of with that new knowledge of getting in there and learning the hard way, it let me not only build this game but also build more on top of it easier. Like if I had to do challenge modifiers in Athenian Rhapsody, no way, that would be a nightmare. I would not do that. That sounds hard. You know what I mean? Like it's tough to get in there. I also added a Twitch extension in this one, so you could have chatters and stuff for streamers. Just easier.
Well, we got our first 15-minute block out of the way. So when we come back after a couple little commercials here, we'll hear a little bit more about this journey for you and take it from there. So give us just a little bit more. All right, so Nico, I know when it comes to your game, a big theme here is the crazy biomes that you have. And now I know there was the clown one before. There's the gym one. I think there's still some sort of gym one again. Give me what that looks like coming now here into the new game that you got. What are those crazy biomes that you have cooked up?
You were so tapped in. I got to be honest with you. You're very tapped in with the biomes. These are good questions. You did your research, man. You always do your research, man. You always tapped in. But anyways, so yes, you know what? I kind of forgot about the clown biome a little bit. I kind of forget that was kind of a big curveball that I did. But there are some wacky biomes in this one as well. Like a big one, and I actually intended to put this in Athenian Rhapsody, but I was just overscoping the game and I had to wrap it up and just get it out, was the public pool biome. I wanted to put a public pool in the game so bad. I just like, pretty much with all things in these games, I'll get hyper fixated on something that I think is funny, and I'll be like, oh, this is going to be hilarious. This is going to be great. So I put the public pool in there, and I added the ducks, the duck characters that, you could fight the surfing duck and do the surfing minigame, and that's pretty fun. Then, you get a sidekick, Jerry, there. And I think it's hilarious. And I made some YouTube shorts about it. And the kids are asking me to let you like pee in the pool and stuff like that. Like, so I added a little Easter egg where if you press P on the keyboard on PC, you will do like a little pee in the pool. And I'm not, if somebody figured it out, they figured it out. But it's just funny. And I love building upon that stuff, and you can run around breaking things. You can pop the kiddie pool. You can, there's like a realistic duck. Like, I love doing stuff like that, but other biomes in the game, for like the mainstay biomes, I got a little creative. Like, obviously there's the kind of grass world, you start in the grasslands. And Athenian Rhapsody was more like a marsh, like wetlands kind of place, but this is just like a lush one. I did a forest, which I was calling the mystical forest or whatever like that. There's gnomes there. There's a gnome room, and they run like kind of like a Cutco type thing, like a pyramid marketing company. It's pretty funny. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's also a Halloween biome little spot. I added a city biome instead of just a city. It's a biome like that's supposed to be a city. And there's also, after that, you go on the mountain, and then, that's kind of almost like the one in the Athenian Rhapsody. It's like Magic Mountain kind of style. Then it gets all stormy and stuff. So yeah, everything's just a little bit like, whacked out. But I would say the public pool one is really the one that stands out. Oh, there's also the beach. The beach is awesome.
What's the difference between the beach and the public pool?
Well, the public pool is all chlorined out, and that's in the grass biome. The beach is like a real beach biome. You know what I mean? Like, there's sand. I made waves and stuff. It's super fun, and there's like a whole fishing pier and things like that. There's a lot to discover here. There's no biome that I'm like, that's kind of the weak point. You know what I mean?
Does the Peaky work on the beach, or was that taken out? It's only for the public pool.
I think it actually might work in the beach.
Oh.
I think it might. I think it might work whenever you're standing in water. Actually, now that I didn't think about that. I didn't really think about that. But yes, I think it's just when you're in water. That's probably not good.
That could be a little problematic, but that's okay. That's okay. Now, when it comes to people who've played the original game, and like you said, they are standalone here. It's a prequel, which you explained, which you think will help us sell a little better compared to games that are sequels. What are something that people who did play the original game, though, they can look forward to seeing again? I know we've seen Thunder Gruber reappear here and there. So what are some other little tidbits?
Yes, Thunder Gruber has a real big central role, especially late game and stuff like that. And you will, if you played Athenian Rhapsody and you maximize the experience, you will get a lot out of the roots in this game, because you will learn pretty much about everything. You will pretty much get more information on everything that you found in Athenian Rhapsody through the most ambitious routes, like the lullaby or the true route. And doing that in this game will give you some more background on them, on stuff that I've seen the fans ask me and stuff like that. So I've just put little dialogues and stuff in there. But you will learn more about the world and the central, like what Rhapsodies really are. You won't learn much about the world of Athens and that world specifically, but you will learn about the powers behind it that were in that game and stuff. It's pretty cool. I really tried to take the next step up with the like universe's lore, but it's also not like it's not so complicated that if you're a new player, you won't get it and stuff like that. But it's like if you are an old player, you will draw connections. I also have a lot of characters are versions of the characters in Athenian Rhapsody. Like, you got Horatio, and then one of the main characters in this one is Steve Cheeseburger, which is like, I don't know, his grandpa's uncle or something. And, he's basically the same character because he's a good character. It's just reskinned. So there's a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of small cameos. There's a lot of little things I threw in there that you might be able to catch. And Thunder Goober has an office, and he's got all tchotchkes from Athenian Rhapsody, kind of like I have. Like, it's worse, though. You know what I mean? So there's a lot for them to find throughout the whole game, I would say.
Now, you mentioned the different routes. Now, going on further from that, the replayability here. How many hours do you expect one playthrough to be? And then multiplying that by everything else that's possible and maybe other difficulties and the routes and all the little tidbits. What are we looking at?
So I think it might be like an hour or two shorter than Athenian Rhapsody, but the replayability is something I put a lot of time into making much more viable in this one. You know what I mean? Like Athenian Rhapsody, you had the different routes, you had your different choices, you had the smaller changes you can make. Like you can go and, if you were supposed to do this thing and you walk backwards, sometimes you would unlock like a smaller part route, like 20% of your run would be different. In this one, it's basically just you could pretty much build the story like you want to. Like you can go out of order. You could do Dilroy's quest. You can go back and do Steve Cheese. You could skip Jerry. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But I think that the customizing of the Rhapsodies adds a fair amount. But mostly probably honestly the challenge modifiers, like just giving yourself more ways to play. You know what I mean? Like I added a Nuzlocke mode like people do in Pokemon. I added all sorts of crazy stuff. I added the mode where you can't understand any of the text, stuff like that. I'm also thinking that, the whole Twitch extension, if you're playing and even if you're not a streamer and you just have your your friends in chat and just because they show up in the world and they chat with you, I feel like that's kind of fun. You know what I mean? The rogue mode, you could just infinitely kind of battle and just check out these crazy builds and stuff. So I added just little silos that I think will add up into you getting a lot of hitting the boots running and getting your boots on the ground and just running through the game. You know what I mean? A lot of different times. And yeah, there are the routes. The routes are the same. It's pretty much the neutral route. Then you have like the true route. I think you might have like an extended neutral route or something. I don't remember. Do you?
So many you can't keep track, but
it
shows all the work that you
There's
put
the
in.
lullaby. It's. I think in this game it doesn't end the game. You can do whatever you want, and then you can end it whenever you want. So yeah, it's a little more open.
Now, looking into the Rhapsodies here, just go over once again, in the last game was obviously in the name Rhapsodies. You have the postcards, they're tradable, any interaction between the first game and the second game, and if there's any little bonus features, I'm thinking back to like Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, where if you played the original, you get some extra stats for the next game for some of your characters, anything like that.
You know what? That actually reminds me. I probably should do something like that. I didn't make it so that your Rhapsodies in Athenian Rhapsody can be queued up in Tales of Tuscany yet, because that's probably the last thing we're going to do is hook up the Rhapsodies to the online system and just QA test that and all that stuff. But I do have something that if you have... Sorry, oh my God. If you have Athenian Rhapsody in your Steam library and you're playing on Steam, you get an outfit inspired by Cornball. You get the hat and you get the backpack for Lammy Poo, which is pretty fun. So that's kind of a small thing, but right now in this game, it's just a fresh set of Rhapsodies because they're so different. Like I could probably put like a representation of what's in your online kind of thing in Tales of Tuscany and, take some stuff from it. But what I am planning on doing is in the mobile game we're working on, Gooby Garden, which is pretty fun and cute. I want to make the first thing I'm going to do to tie in my RPGs with the mobile game is probably take the Athenian Rhapsodies and make them redeemable in that game for some stuff, because I just think it's fun. I want to make some use of them, but yeah, they still kind of have the same tradability and things like that in Tales of Tuscany, and they're a bit redesigned. They're double-sided. They show more about your game just off the bat, just readable as like kind of like an artifact.
And with the success of your first game, which brought me to cover you and your story about 2 years ago, just tell me about that journey that you've had of, if I'm right here, this is your full-time job and you've made it very successful.
I'm full-time now, yeah. After the first one released, I went full-time.
So, which is a very big accomplishment. And just tell me about how this has shaped your life, how you feel about this accomplishment, and just making your art something that has made you money and made you successful. What that's like as a creative.
Yeah, well, first off, I appreciate it, and honestly, like unlocked my freedom in my life. I feel like I'm not a person who could be happy on a 9 to 5 schedule, which is a downside to me, I would say, because I think that's very normal. I'm not trying to say anything wrong about being on a work schedule. I keep myself on a work schedule as well. It's just I feel like I have to do my own thing, or else I won't be satisfied. And being able to make something and meet so many people and with the help that I got from everybody and make it something that's viable monetarily, I've bought a place with my girlfriend. We're advancing in our lives and stuff like that, and expanded. I've got a second game. I've got a third game. We're taking on young devs to work with us and stuff like that. It's really amazing. And I'm going to be completely honest. Probably this past year, I have not done even one shred of. Well, no, I try to practice gratefulness every night, but I haven't done one just, wow, this is awesome. I have such a great life. I'm just so go mode right now. So you know what? I think I have to slow down and just kind of appreciate it a little more. I think it's because we're coming up on a release soon. That's probably why, you know what I mean? But it really is if I'm just objectively speaking, this is the thing that I love doing. I'm so lucky. I even started a new thing recently. I started the side Pokemon thing, and that's doing great. And that's kind of a viable thing as well. It's just this is literally my dream scenario. And it was a nightmare getting there, but we did get there and it did work out, luckily. And there were no crazy lucky breaks or anything like that. It was just step 1 is this, step 2 is that. Go back to step 1, step 3, go back to step 1. Stuff like that. So yeah, that was a good question. That's a good question.
Thank you. And now pushing to Tales of Tuscany, when is the release date? What's it releasing on?
My publishers will hire an assassin to come to my house if I told you, but
it
is this year.
Okay.
I don't even want to say the time frame because I used to do that a lot and people used to get mad at me. But I will tell you this. We've got the mobile game releasing, Gooby Garden, which is going to be really fun, and that's a free, cute game. We've been working our asses off on it, and that's going to come out before PAX East, which is late March, okay? Shouldn't have said that. But anyways, I'm going to be announcing it soon anyway, so whatever. And Tales of Tuscany will be following that. It'll be out not long after. I don't want to say exactly how long, but it's going to be out this year. There's no problems in development or anything like that. It's kind of just getting the production pipeline down. So yeah, it's going to be a big year. Last year, a lot of work. This year, a lot of work, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I understand that, and we'll probably catch up some way somehow on Gooby Garden. Gooby Garden?
Gooby Garden, yes.
Gooby Garden.
I would love to
name.
do something just on that and just, have some fun and stuff like that,
Well, thanks for being with me on this one and for round 2. I appreciate that. But is there anything else you want to say before we have to hop off here?
Yes, I would like to say I think this is going to be a really fun year. I think we're going to have a lot of awesome things happen, and this is not going to be our only meetup this year, right? We're gonna do something fun. We're gonna talk about mobile games and stuff.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Nico. And we will catch everybody else here in the next week's episode. So thanks for tuning in, and see you then.